Stand by for cycling videos online optimization cross-check. Configuring customized workout experience.
Workout maximize.
Power up revolutionary on-screen dashboard.
Crystal clear virtual ride enhance.
Calibrating workout devices.
Laser aligned focus.
Prepare athletes for maximum performance.
Athletes engaged for full immersion experience.
The world's most immersive workout experience begins now.
You are listening to the default audio track, which contains instructional narrative. To change the audio track, simply press your audio button on DVD remote. On the download, there are multiple audio options in the original file. The rest of you just sit back and enjoy the workout. Well, welcome everyone. We are on beautiful Salt Springs Island, just off of Vancouver Island in Canada. Just a couple hour ferry ride from the city of Vancouver, Canada. So what we're doing here is we're going to calibrate our bike and our body to work with the dashboard. Really what we just need to be doing right now, just have your bike in its easiest gear, pedaling at a cadence of about 80 RPM, and letting your heart rate come up to about 65% of max. And this is going to also serve as a nice warm-up to what is a very difficult bike ride.
Lower Ganges, right turn.
Yeah, this is one of the tougher workouts. I've gone through it a couple times, and it's a chore. And we're just going to build up to a fairly high intensity here. And by the time the actual workout starts, we should be nice and warmed up. Now the problem is that while this is being filmed, we're already 2.5 hours into the bike ride. So let's go ahead and shift one harder gear. So we should be a 2 in the back, easy gear up front. Still maintaining that 80 RPM cadence. If you're on a spin bike, you're just going to estimate what the number 2 at the very bottom there on the right hand side is a number 2, and that's a 2 out of 10 on your resistance. And the best way to estimate that is if you're pedaling at 80 RPM and you think you're at a 2 out of 10 your resistance, your height rate should come up to about 68% of max on the left hand side there. I'm right there. So my bike is calibrated. Now what we're trying to do with your bike is synchronize the gearing with the cadence and the heart rate. Now if what you're doing is following the dashboard on, that's all the overlays here. And we got a 3 in the back, pedaling at a cadence of 80 RPM. If our heart rate is too high, we need to find a way to lower the resistance on our trainer. If our heart rate is too low, obviously the opposite. So raise the resistance. Now, if you are on a trainer that does not have variable resistance, like if you're on a wind trainer or a magnetic trainer, there are other techniques besides changing a dial. And if this is your first bike ride, you have no clue what's going on, just hang tight. Let's go ahead and increase that resistance by 1 more. So spin bikes, we're at a 3 out of 10, spinning at a cadence of 80. Heart rate is jumping up to 72% here. I'm at 73, so I'm doing all right. I'm talking too, so that doesn't help. You can see the progression of this warm out at the very bottom. The red line showing us our overall, and the black line showing us our interval before our next gear change. Just kind of a little fancy graphic there. 73% is where we should be, spinning at a cadence of 80. Okay, so some of those techniques to try to change your resistance on your trainer. Add 1 click here, keeping that cadence at 80 RPM. If the resistance is too high, and your heart rate is too high, and you don't have a variable resistance on your trainer, one technique or method would be to increase your air pressure in your tire. Every 5 pounds of pressure can really remove quite a bit of effort. So the higher the pressure, the easier it is to pedal. The other thing you can do to lower that resistance would be to loosen up the pressure to the rear tire. Most trainers have a little screw that pushes in the resistance mechanism into the tire. If you've got it pressed in nice and tight, the wheel or the tire has to deform in order to move around. So the less deformation, the lower the pedaling resistance is. So we're at a 7 out of 10 now. Getting that heart rate up into the high 70s. And then, of course, if your resistance is too low, which is usually not the case, you need to add resistance, and you don't have a variable resistance. You can always tighten that screw down a little bit more to the rear tire. I don't want to recommend deflating your tire because that's bad for your tires. If you're on a spin bike, all you have to do is add a little more resistance or subtract a little resistance from your dial. Have an idea of how much you have to turn that dial in order to get that heart rate up at these increments. So we're at 81%. I'm right with you. So once we have all this figured out, the rest of the workout is going to go nice. It's going to go nicely. So all you have to do is practically just shift and watch your cadence, and your heart rate is going to match what's on the left there. And the workout, when it begins hard with a big icky hill climb. So we're going to follow those gear changes and get up the hill. I'll walk you through the dashboard when the whole thing pops up. Right now you're somewhat familiar with how the gearing works on the right, and a little bit about what the graphics on the left mean. That's your effort on the left, resistance on the right. All right, we are pulling into the town of Ganges. This is a cool little artsy town. A lot of art stores, a lot of wineries, restaurants. It's pretty cool. Our warm-up is almost over. Just keep it pedaling. And bring it down to your easiest gear. I think I missed the change in cadence up to 100. If you caught that, awesome, because my heart rate is only 85. It should have been 87. Should have popped up a little bit if I increase my pedaling cadence. That's what happens when you're chatting away. Sorry about that. Okay, bringing up your resistance, 2, 3, 4 in the back as we start entering this climb. And we're going to bring it up even higher than that. 5, 6, 7 in the back, and the big ring up front. So add a lot of resistance to your legs. Got a 7 out of 10, and now up to 8, 9, and full 10 out of 10. So right now, looking at the right graphic, you should be in your hardest possible gear on your bike. Full 10 out of 10 on resistance, spinning at a cadence of just about 70 RPM. Bringing that heart rate up, almost 90% here. We're going to just keep going up. Just bringing down that resistance a little bit on the back. 5 out of 10. Big ring is still at front. Pedaling at 75 RPM. And at 92%, I'm almost there. Bringing that resistance down just a little bit. 4 in the back. 4 out of 10 on your spin bike. Let's get up here. And one more gear harder in the back. 5 out of 10. Pedaling now, almost 80 RPM. Bringing that heart rate up. 93. All right, just rounding out. Take a little off. Oh, should I put it? And then small ring up front and a 7 in the back. Still feeling that resistance. Cadence is now 80. Take off a little on the back. And 4 in the back. Now for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, hang tight. Let's get to the top of this hill. 7, 8, 9 in the back. Still pedaling at 80. Heart rate at 91% of max. You hear, I am working out with you. I'm breathing hard. So, really hard to focus on the instructions here. A little less in the back. 6 out of 10 on your spin bike. Pedaling now, 85 RPM. Oh, bringing that resistance up to full, or to 10 in the back, your hardest gear. Easy gear up front. Small ring up front. Pedaling at 80 RPM. We see a carrot just in front of us, and we're gonna try to bring him in here. So we're really working flat spot here. Oh, big ring up front. We're increasing our resistance. 7 out of 10. 80 RPM. 93%. Take a little off. There goes our van. Come on, let's work. Get up this hill. Catch that dude.
I saw you.
The work is almost done for a little bit. Come on. Keep the pressure on your legs. We're at 96%. If you're between 94 to 96, you're doing awesome. And take off that big ring. You're at a 6 out of 10. Pedaling cadence bumped up to 85-90 RPM. Keep your speed up. Little resistance off. Keeping that cadence high. About 90. 85-90. Now we're at 90. We're at a 3 out of 10. We're at 95% for maximum effort. Max heart rate. Add some resistance. We're going to head into another little climb here. More resistance. 6 out of 10. 7 in the back. Small ring up front. All right, there he is. We're bringing him in. Let's go. Stay on it. A little more resistance. We're going to accelerate here. 90 RPM. Adding resistance. Bring that effort up. Come on. Pass him. There we go. Is he going to try and stick with us? Come on, let's make it a little harder. 90 RPM, 8 out of 10 in the back. Take a little off. Bring the cadence down. 80 RPM. Hardest gear in the back. Steep little climb, man. Taking a little off in the back. Another carrot up front. That's a acronym for human. A carrot on a bike. Come on. You see him. You want to pass him. %. Let's go. Come on. Big ring up front. 6 in the back. RPM. Trying to hold it at 80. A little harder gear. 7 out of 10. Come on. $75 RPM. Trying to hold 80. Keep it going. Is he going to try and hold on? No. Drop that big gear up front as a little. And add a little extra in the back. And taking it down. We're getting to the top of this climb. Almost. Having fun yet? Keeping that effort up. Just holding that effort steady. We're almost up top. Come on. See where that truck is. I believe that's the top right there. Although I've been known to fake you out with false summits before. Just keep driving. Let's keep going. Bringing up that cadence. 90. Bringing that resistance down a bit. 4 in the back. 3 out of 10 on your spin bike. Cadence at 90 RPM right now. Come on. Let's go. Bringing our speed up. Cadence up to 95, almost 100. Come on. Heart rate's at about 90% here. Whew. 100 RPM. Let's bring that cadence up. Nice and high here. This workout never ends. It ends. Come on, let's go. Just under 90%, our heart rate's starting to slowly drop here. Should be feeling pretty good after that huge effort. Bringing that cadence up even higher now. 105 in our easiest gear up front. Pedal it out. Nice and fast cadence here. Adding 2 clicks and 3 clicks in the back. So we're at 4 out of 10 in the back. Small ring up front still. Maintaining that 105 cadence. RPM. 100. A little more resistance. We're starting to flatten out here. Nice high cadence still. Come on. Keep that speed up. Pushing 180 watts here on the flats. Come on. 190. We're at 320 feet above sea level. We got a little more climbing before we start descending down the other side of the island, but not much. Come on. Adding some resistance. Come on, hill and we got this. You can barely make them out under the trees up in front. You got a group of carrots. And now we're going to attack their back wheel there. Bringing our pedaling cadence up close to 100. And we're looking to get on the back of that for a little break here. So pedal up to it. Let's go. Nice tempo riding here. Come on. There they are. Bring them in. A little more resistance. 6 out of 10. A little climb here. And we're on, so bring that resistance down. Easiest gear. Coast or soft pedal here. Catch your breath. All right. Take a drink. Well, okay, that was the start. It gets harder. Excuse me. Whew. All right, so, okay, we covered basically a couple of things on the dashboard. Right-hand gearing, the left-hand heart rate, and the 0 RPM there in the white box on the bottom, our pedaling cadence. Let me just one more detail on that gear guide there. Right now it shows above the blue line a 1, then the blue line, below that a 42, and below that a 1. All right, now the one above the blue is going to a 3, that's asking us to change gears from the easiest resistance to 3 clicks in the back, 4, 5. If you got a 10 speed, you're clicking 6 times in the back. If you got a 10 or 9, you're gonna have to skip a gear or 2. What I normally do on my 9 speed is ignore the change between the 5 and the 6. Okay, so below the pink line there, we got a 52. And that means you want to use your biggest ring up front. So the front gear shift into your hardest.
Did you see me come by?
And in the back, we're bringing it down to a 6. So we had a nice little high effort climb there. And now we're going to shift into your small ring up front as specified by the 42. So the 42, your small ring up front, and the 52 is your big ring. And below that 42, the number, that's specifically used for spin bikes resistance, and it's on a scale of 1 to 10. So it's a arbitrary number on how hard it feels like you're pedaling. So every time it changes gears, shift right along with it. And if you're maintaining that cadence, your heart rate should naturally follow to the recommended. So notice now on the box on the left shows 95 RPM. If you don't have a cadence sensor, I'll try and flash the RPM on the screen every once in a while using the video. But to really benefit from the workouts, you need a heart rate monitor, cadence sensor, and if you really want to get into it, get yourself a power meter. That brings up your price. If you already have a power meter, you're rocking. Nice big little resistance here. Come on, 9, 10 in the rear. Pedaling at 85 RPM just for this little hill and bringing it down. So we're coming over the top. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Easiest gear in the back. 95 RPM. So we're bringing up our speed now 0, so we're coasting. If it's showing a 0, soft pedal or coast, whatever you need to do to get your heart rate where it needs to be. 105 RPM in your easiest gear. Bringing it up 1, 2, 4, 5 in the back. Resistance of 4, 5 on your spin bike. A little grade here. Big ring, let's go. Push it. Get over the top here. Should be feeling those legs. Bringing that resistance down. 4, 3, 2, and easiest gear. 1 on your resistance. Now on your left hand side there, showing the 88% with a bar graph below it. Now that 88% is a representation of your percentage of maximum. So in order to really calculate that, you need to know what your maximum heart rate is. And then to find your percentage, you're just dividing your current heart rate in beats per minute by your maximum. Now, a lot of heart rate monitors will do this calculation for you as long as you put in what your maximum value is. Now, in the middle of your screen, you'll see 3 graphs. The top graph is your hill profile. As you can see, or I should say, there are 2 lines dividing up those 3 graphs, white lines, and our location is in between those 2 white lines on those profiles. Big ring, little climb here. Let's go. 80 RPM, heart rate's coming back up, 91%. Come on, push through it here. Let's go. Over the top, bringing that resistance down. Whew. Now, when you're pre-exhausted, like I am filming this, that heart rate will respond much quicker to high efforts. So, you may not be there yet. If your high efforts are resulting in a slower change in your heart rate, totally normal. By the time you're done with this video, you may be timed perfectly with the recommended, or you may be actually higher than it. Depends on how fast your body recovers from high efforts. Come on, 5 out of 10, or 5 in the back. Now 5 out of 10, 7 in the back, 90 RPM. Got our last little climb here. 9, 10 in the back, 8 out of 10 on the resistance. Holding a cadence at 80 RPM. Little flat section here, takes them off. All right, it's coming up. Right back up. Big ring up front, 5 in the back. Whew. Pedaling at 80 RPM. And heart rate up to 90 again. 7 in the back. Come on, big surge here. 70 RPM. Big hill. Steep, but short. Down a click. And small ring, bringing that resistance all the way down. 1 out, 1 in the back. Easy gear. 80 RPM. We're going to rest up here a little bit and coast. Oh, soft paddle. All right, so top gear, or top graph there in the middle of your screen is our hill profile. Looking below that is your effort profile. And you can see those red sections, or dark orange, were those really tough efforts, about 95, 96%. And right now, we're in a pretty easy effort here. So we're at 88%. Effort's coming down a bit as we have this nice descent. And we're gonna take it easy here. And the lowest most graph, those are showing our power changes. So if you see any spikes coming up, you know that there's going to be a bit of a sprint or a high effort section where you're going to feel your legs. Now we're coasting here at about 40 miles an hour. Happy we didn't have to come up this way. Well, it was about the same. Yeah. All right.